The Philippines has often been underestimated, dismissed by many as just another cluster of islands in Southeast Asia. But what the world often overlooks is that this archipelago is far more than its geography. Behind its beaches and storms lies a story of resilience, sacrifice, and brilliance that has quietly shaped the modern world. From the sweat of its workers to the courage of its soldiers, from cultural influence to scientific contributions, the Philippines has given far more to humanity than most people realize. Yet too often these contributions are overlooked, forgotten, or taken for granted. Today, we dive deep into the hidden debts the world owes to the Philippines. Debts not of money, but of history, survival, and progress. 1. The global workforce. Step into almost any country in the world, and you'll find Filipinos there. In hospitals, ships, schools, offices, and homes, millions of overseas Filipino workers, or OFWs, keep the global machine running. They are the quiet, tireless backbone of international industries. In London, Filipino nurses care for patients with compassion and skill. In Saudi Arabia, Filipino engineers design and maintain vital infrastructure. On ships that cross oceans, Filipino seafarers make up nearly a quarter of the world's maritime workforce, ensuring goods reach their destinations. In homes across Europe, North America, and Asia, Filipino caregivers and teachers shape the lives of children and families. The sacrifices are enormous. These men and women leave behind loved ones, missing birthdays, weddings, even funerals, all to support their families back home. Their remittances, worth billions of dollars every year, not only keep the Philippine economy alive, but also stabilize industries in over 100 countries that desperately rely on their skills. The truth is this: the global economy would struggle without Filipinos. Their presence fills critical labor shortages, their work ethic inspires respect, and their resilience under tough conditions keeps entire systems from collapsing. The world owes a debt to the Filipino workforce, for their dedication, for their sacrifices, and for proving that the strength of a nation is not limited by its borders, but carried in the hearts of its people. 2. Heroes of World War II. When World War II came to Asia, the Philippines became one of its most critical battlefields. Filipinos didn't just defend their own soil, they stood for freedom itself. In Bataan, Filipino and American soldiers resisted overwhelming Japanese forces for months, despite hunger, disease, and dwindling supplies. Their courage slowed Japan's advance and gave the Allies crucial time to recover. That stand changed the course of the Pacific War. But victory came with sacrifice. After surrender, tens of thousands were forced into the infamous Bataan Death March, over 60 miles of brutality, starvation, and death. Many never made it, but their endurance became a symbol of courage for the world. In Corregidor, defenders fought to the last bullet. Even after occupation, Filipino guerrillas refused to surrender, striking from the mountains, sabotaging supply lines, and feeding intelligence to the Allies. Their persistence made General MacArthur's promise, "I shall return," possible. Yet history often overlooks them. The truth is, without Filipino bravery, the war in the Pacific could have dragged on much longer. The world owes them gratitude, not only for their sacrifice, but for helping shape the freedom we know today. 3. Global peacekeeping. Even after the war ended, Filipinos did not stop serving the world. Instead of fighting for conquest, they began fighting for peace. Since the 1950s, Filipino troops have been deployed as UN peacekeepers in some of the world's most dangerous zones. In Lebanon, they guarded civilians caught in crossfire. In Haiti, they restored order after chaos. In Africa, they delivered aid to war-torn villages and stood as human shields against violence. These missions don't make front-page news. There are no victory parades or medals broadcast on TV. But their quiet service has saved thousands of lives. Villages were spared. Families were protected. Aid reached those who would have starved. It takes uncommon courage to stand between two armies ready to destroy each other, often with little more than a blue helmet and resolve. Filipinos have done this again and again, guided not by glory, but by compassion. 4. Medicine and science. When people talk about global medical breakthroughs, the Philippines is often left out of the story. But behind the scenes, Filipinos have saved millions of lives. One shining example is Dr. Abelardo Aguilar, who helped discover erythromycin, an antibiotic that became one of the most important life-saving drugs in the world. It has treated infections, saved patients in hospitals, and prevented countless deaths. Yet very few know this discovery has roots in the Philippines. Beyond erythromycin, Filipino scientists have been at the front lines of tropical medicine, researching dengue fever, malaria, and other diseases that affect millions across Asia and Africa. Others have contributed to breakthroughs in agriculture, nutrition, and environmental science, working quietly to improve lives far beyond their homeland. The world often forgets to give credit, but make no mistake. Every time a child survives an infection, or a disease is prevented through tropical medicine research, part of that is thanks to Filipino science. The world owes the Philippines for these hidden heroes of medicine. 5. Food and agriculture. When we sit down to eat, most of us don't realize how much of our food connects back to the Philippines. Filipino agriculture has shaped diets around the globe. Take bananas, mangoes, and coconuts, staples in kitchens from Asia to Europe, from Africa to the Americas. The sweetness of Philippine mangoes is legendary, often called the best in the world. Coconuts and their byproducts fuel industries, from cooking oil to beauty products. But perhaps the greatest gift is something less flashy yet more powerful: rice research. The Philippines hosts the International Rice Research Institute, IRRI, which developed new rice varieties that resisted disease, grew faster, and fed millions during times of famine. Some call it the Green Revolution in Asia. Without it, countless families might have starved in the 1960s and beyond. The Philippines may not always claim the spotlight, but its contributions in agriculture have literally filled the world's plates. From preventing starvation to feeding billions, the world owes the Philippines for its role as a silent guardian of food security. 6. Seafaring and global trade. The oceans may seem endless, but behind every ship that crosses them is a heartbeat. And often, that heartbeat is Filipino. Today, nearly 1/3 of the world's sailors are Filipinos. Cargo ships carrying electronics, clothes, food, oil, and fuel depend on them. Cruise liners that entertain millions rely on their service. Oil tankers transporting the lifeblood of modern economies sail safely because of Filipino hands on deck. It's no exaggeration to say this. Without Filipinos, global trade would grind to a halt. Every smartphone in your hand, every car on the road, every product on the shelves of supermarkets, many of them reached their destination because a Filipino sailor guided that ship across the ocean. And it's not just skill, it's resilience. Storms, isolation, months away from home, yet Filipinos endure it with quiet strength and unmatched dedication. The world may never fully see their sacrifice, but the truth is simple. The modern world literally sails on the dedication of Filipinos. 7. Music, arts, and entertainment. If the sea is where Filipinos keep the world moving, the stage is where they keep it alive. Music, arts, and entertainment. Here too, the Philippines has given the world gifts that words can barely measure. From Leah Salonga, whose voice graced Broadway and Disney classics, to Arnel Pineda, who rose from singing in Manila bars to becoming the lead singer of the legendary band Journey, Filipino talent has broken barriers and inspired millions. But it doesn't stop at world-famous names. On cruise ships, in hotels, in city streets, and across digital platforms, Filipino musicians and performers bring joy to audiences every single day. Their natural gift for melody, harmony, and storytelling makes them some of the most beloved entertainers worldwide. And beyond the stage, Filipino artistry powers global media industries, from animation to film editing, from graphic design to cultural storytelling. Many of the cartoons, films, and creative projects people enjoy around the globe carry the touch of Filipino artists working behind the scenes. The world owes the Philippines for this creativity, for the songs that inspire, the stories that move hearts, and the artistry that connects cultures. Filipinos don't just entertain, they lift spirits and spread joy, proving that their influence is as much about heart as it is about talent. 8. Human spirit and resilience. The Philippines has been tested more times than most nations. Typhoons crash into its shores every year, earthquakes strike without warning, and volcanoes remind everyone of the land's restless nature. On top of that, poverty and political struggles often make recovery harder. For many countries, these disasters would break spirits. But not in the Philippines. Here, resilience is not just a word, it's a way of life. When typhoons tear down homes, Filipinos gather together, hammer in hand, to rebuild entire villages piece by piece. When floodwaters rise, families climb to rooftops, not in silence, but with prayers and songs of hope. Even in evacuation centers where others might sink into despair, Filipinos find ways to smile, to laugh, and to share what little they have. The world has witnessed it. Children playing in the rain after storms, volunteers cooking meals for strangers, communities holding hands and singing hymns as they clean up the rubble. These moments show something extraordinary. That true strength doesn't always come from wealth, power, or weapons. Sometimes it comes from the ability to stand back up after every fall. During the pandemic, millions of Filipinos abroad risked their lives as frontliners. They cared for the sick in hospitals, delivered food when cities were locked down, and supported global economies while carrying their own worries about families back home. Even in crisis, their spirit didn't bend. This resilience has become a lesson for the world. It proves that no matter how dark the storm, the Filipino spirit shines brighter. And for that, for teaching the world how to hope, how to endure, and how to rise again, humanity owes the Philippines a debt that cannot be measured. From the battlefields of history to the kitchens, hospitals, and shipping lanes of today, the Philippines has given more to the world than it has ever asked in return. Its people have fought for freedom, healed the sick, fed the hungry, carried global trade, entertained millions, and shown the kind of resilience that inspires nations. Their labor, their creativity, their courage, and their spirit, these are debts the world cannot easily repay. The Philippines may be small on the map, but its impact is immeasurable. It has touched lives in every corner of the globe, often quietly, often without recognition. And maybe that's the greatest debt of all, recognition. Recognition that the Philippines is not just another nation in Southeast Asia, but a people whose contributions, sacrifices, and spirit have helped shape the modern world. The world owes the Philippines far more than gratitude. It owes them respect.